Welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm your host, Tia Young, and we have a great show for you today. Our special guests are from GovPartners, LLC, located in Ashburn, Virginia. Jeff Beck, Director of Clandestine Services, and Raymond Murray, Communications Agent, will tell us all about their organization and also give us a really cool virtual tour. GovPartners is a government contractor providing complete acquisition management support services, including third-party evaluations, program management, deployment, and staffing support for its clients. Jeff Beck and CEO Cynthia Karnak visited Skills to Pay the Bills earlier this year, and we are now very pleased to have Ray joining us today. There is another person who was instrumental in helping to put today's segment together, and she is Elizabeth Montes de Oca, who is in the studio today, but she is reserving her debut for another time. I want to take this opportunity to announce that GovPartners has agreed to host an innovative new segment entitled GovPartners Presents, which will air in February 2015 right here on Skills to Pay the Bills. We will hear more about this segment after the break, but for now, let's take our first virtual tour with a clip entitled Welcome to Covert Travelers.
We'd like to introduce a new concept called the Customer Intelligence Analyst Division, specifically for third-party evaluation services. It is the clandestine arm of GovPartners focused directly on the covert observation of services in the transportation industry to help improve the customer experience, as well as implement innovative approaches to reduce costs and generate growth in that facet of the commercial sector.
The third-party observation is a key component of the organization where we evaluate the services of transit organizations, government agencies, and commercial clients in rail, bus, airport ground transportation, and other divisions in order to assess not only the customer service, but also some of the safety, security requirements which ultimately tie into the rest of our organization, those contract compliance requisites which will help them move forward with improved services.
The next component of this phase involves our specialized team of anonymous evaluators who act as customers to assess and prepare a detailed report of their findings on safety, operations, integrity, and other factors, including a prompt notification system where we immediately notify the client of any glaring hazards.
The client is then able to take the information and implement corrective actions, including repairs, employee-customer relation issues, unsightly cosmetic problems, or any other concern that may pose as a red flag for the organization. In addition to identifying problems, we also take notice of things that excel in performance standards or factors that can proactively be targeted in order to mitigate future planning.
Taking the mystery out of customer satisfaction, one trip at a time.
This is Covert Travelers.
Wow, that was a great virtual video. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Ray, for coming today.
Thanks for having us, Tia.
Good. Well, that video was really something. Did you guys do that in-house, or was that something that you put together, Ray?
It was done in-house. The team really just came together to put all of our input into it, to really give the essence of what Covert Travelers is and what it means for the organization.
Right. Okay. Well, I really enjoyed it. Jeff, tell us about the involvement of GovPartners and Covert Travelers. When you were here in April, you and Cynthia, it was just GovPartners.
Absolutely, and it's always been there, the Covert Travelers piece, but really it's something that we're looking at and kind of looking at the evolution of, I guess. Mm-hmm. So we've done third-party evaluations, contract compliance reviews, and different things for a while. We've been working with airport ground transportation reviews for almost 3 years now, doing safety, security, and contract compliance reviews, mm-hmm. and we're now kind of expanding that into passenger survey projects, additional mystery rider and mystery shopping projects, and full-scale market research projects in the transit and aviation world, and we're doing that with what we call Covert Travelers.
Okay, all right. Well, what does Covert Travelers mean as a brand or as a niche?
Well, Covert Travelers, and when people think about mystery shopping, typically they think about retail or the restaurant world and very small, brief interactions, and typically with a contractor that may have no future or past experience with that organization. Well, when we're doing it with trained individuals that have a significant amount of experience, specifically related to, or we help them gain that experience in the transit industry or in the travel industry, so that they have additional experience. And then we're doing long surveys or significant research projects in that area to ensure that the customer's getting the detail they need to benefit their customers long term, or their passengers in most cases.
Right. Well, who or what is a covert partner? Can I be a covert partner? Or a traveler, covert traveler?
Absolutely. I think everybody is to some degree. Every one of us travels on a regular basis, day in and day out. It might be traveling by local transportation. It might be on a vacation or work aspect and
Yes.
flying somewhere there. But because we're looking at bus transit groups, we're looking at rail groups, we're looking at aviation components, and all of those other pieces that fit into what is transportation and mobility as a whole, with all those pieces together, we're looking at all those different components. All of us can be at one time or another. And it really is just somebody that's a detail-oriented individual that has experience and knowledge of the transit industry with a small amount of technology background.
Okay, so I've added something to my resume. I'm a covert traveler.
And absolutely, that could happen.
Well, where do you see the industry moving as a whole?
Well, I think with every industry right now, and then the same applies to the transportation industry as a whole, everybody's looking for more and more data and more information about their customers. In the transit industry, it's their passengers specifically, but everybody's looking at more information so they can make decisions on how much we should charge, how frequently we should have buses run or planes fly. They're always looking at this information. How can we better serve and at the same time generate more money?
Right. Tell me a little bit more about the mystery shopper.
Sure. Mystery shopping as a whole is a way of working with an organization to evaluate their customers. So you come in, or their employees, through a customer's point of view. So you come in as an individual. So you're the covert traveler this time. Okay. You get set up, you walk in, and you're going to take a bus on the way to the airport. And you're evaluating what's going on there, just like you were coming on to your regular flight. You're evaluating what you see. You're looking at other customers and what's going on. You're looking at the condition of maybe the vehicle that you're in. You're looking at any safety and security. Are things running on time? So you're evaluating all of those things along the way. Okay. And then you're providing information back to that customer so that's an ongoing reevaluation of what they're doing so that they can see it. Many organizations evaluate their staff on a regular basis, but they do it with their own personnel. The disadvantage of doing it with their own personnel is many times you end up in a situation where people get to know who that supervisor is or who that person is, and behaviors change when you know who that person is you're interacting with, just commonly in day-to-day activity.
Well, what happens, let's say I'm walking into an airport and I see a suspicious looking bag or something by the trash receptacle. What would I do?
I mean, and not just as a covert traveler, but even as a regular traveler. Anybody coming in, it's a good idea to notify whatever appropriate security is in place, whether it's a police department or security on site or TSA, just so they can evaluate what the situation is. Maybe somebody accidentally left something. On the other hand, it may be a bigger concern.
Right. I had a strange experience, I guess about a month ago. I was on the Hill, and I was having a lunch with a friend, and I had this big bag of, just folders and different things in there. And as we got ready to go and get lunch, I thought I would just leave the bag there because I worked on the Hill for like 30 years, and you could do that. And as we were going, she said, "Where's your bag?" And I said, I thought she meant my purse. I said, "Well, it's right here." Yeah. She says, "No, didn't you have another bag?" I said, "Yeah, I left it." She says, "Oh, go get that bag," said, "because in another 3 minutes, we'll have the Capitol Police on us about that bag that you have there." So that was weird. That was weird.
And it's just an overall safety aspect, and it's an important one for all of us that there's a continued kind of safety culture that's going on, and some of it may be a little more than necessary, but a little more than necessary is a good thing to maintain our ongoing safety as a whole. And so people are more conscious of those types of things than they have been in the past.
Right. Well, starting in 2015, as I had mentioned to our viewers earlier, you guys will be hosting your own segment on Skills to Pay the Bills, and the title of the segment is called GovPartners Presents. Can you give us just, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this after the break, but can you give us just a little tidbit of what GovPartners Presents is going to be
Absolutely.
about?
And I'm going to let Ray say a little bit about it, and I'll get you some more after the break.
Okay.
It's really just going to be an inside track on just things about the travel industry or the customer service industry that customers wouldn't normally have an idea about. Things like crazy news stories that you might hear, people freaking out on airplanes or something like that.
People freaking out on airplanes.
Freaking out on airplanes.
Can you tell a little bit about that and freaking out on the airplane?
A couple months ago, there was a story about a woman who was acting rowdy and belligerent on the plane. And the stewardess told her to calm down. So she took her prosthetic leg and threw it at the stewardess.
Oh no.
Yeah.
She literally took her leg off?
She took her leg off.
Okay, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna like your segment.
But I mean, it's really just things that people need to know about, and safety precautions that people might need to take concern of.
So what are you expecting our viewers to get from the series as a whole?
Well, I think for the series as a whole, I think they're going to get a couple things. One, they're going to get some of that, what's going on in the industry right now, some of it crazy, some of it right now information that's maybe updates or different things. There's a lot of technology stuff impacting the travel industry right now. There's a lot of health scares impacting the travel industry right now. So there's a lot of those components. But we also hope to give people a better understanding of all of the different mobility parts of transportation as a whole. So there's not just bus, there's just not plane, there's just not train, but how do all of those things interact as a whole? And we hope to do that by bringing in guests and experts in those particular areas that can help us put all of those pieces together for the viewers.
Right, and I'm glad you're doing that, because even before I met you guys, I mean, I thought I was one-dimensional when I thought about transportation, but now I think of it as just like all-inclusive. You know, some of the things that I've learned from you, I didn't know before. So I'm excited about the segment. How do you plan to go about choosing some of the guests? Because I know that you plan to have a lot of guests on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, and it really is going to depend on the individual topic area that we're taking a look at that time point, but we're going to bring in local individuals from government-based organizations that focus on transit. Being here in the Washington area, that adds the ability to pull some folks from that area, but also pulling people from other areas, folks that may be involved in the aviation industry or the rail industry, and the other one that's coming up big now is TNCs, or these are the organizations that the technology piece and how app-based applications, we all have our phones now in many cases, or our tablets. How do those now allow us to access transportation cases? And I think that's one more thing that allows us to provide some more innovative information toward the next steps in the industry.
Right. Well, you know, I think of your staff as the A-team. That's what I call you guys, the A-team. So I want you to tell our viewers about the A-team. Tell us a little bit about the staffing and the organization, and we don't want to leave out Ray, what he does.
Right, no, absolutely. And obviously Ray's here and sitting with us today, and Ray plays a huge role in a lot of the segment videos and different things that you're seeing along the way, also in helping put together some events that we're working on, and we'll talk a little bit more about after the break in those components. But you mentioned Liz in the opening here. Liz handles a lot of market research components. She's also done a significant amount of web design work for us, and a lot of creative components as we continue to move forward. Cynthia, you mentioned, Cynthia is the founder and CEO, and she joined us back earlier this year to talk about the organization and also to meet with you. And she plays a significant role in leading each of the aspects of what we do on a day in, day out basis. And with both of our divisions, we've been talking about Covert Travelers today, but our other division and the founding principle of the organization was as an acquisition management company that supported small and medium-sized companies in the transportation and aviation industry to get additional state, local, and federal contracts. Then we have, of course, our team of Covert Travelers that work on all these individual projects. And we have Kim, our mission support admin, that makes sure all of those individual pieces and all those reporting mechanisms and analysis are ready so that we can report back to the client, and all those communications and organization are taken care of. So we're a small team that works on a wide variety of projects locally, nationally, and internationally.
Right. You're a small team, but A-team. Well, it's time to take a short station break. We'll be right back with Jeff and Ray as we talk about their new cable segment, GovPartners Presents. During the break, you will enjoy another virtual clip also produced by GovPartners on the history of mystery shopping as it relates to transportation. So Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Working in an industry where customer service is key, there may be eyes watching.
Welcome back. You're watching Skills to Pay the Bills with our special guests, Jeff Beck and Ray Murray from GovPartners / Covert Travelers. Guys, let's talk about your upcoming segment. But before we do that, we want to take a peek at what's in store for us in your new segment, GovPartners Presents. Then you can tell us all about the excitement and fun that's in store for us. We'll be right back. Wow, that was really a great clip, Ray. You told the story in 30 seconds, and that's really good. We know that, as I said earlier, that GovPartners is going to air in February 2015, and each segment will cover 4 distinct areas: current events, the mission, crazy news stories, the debrief. Jeff and Ray, give us some details, a little bit more details about the 4 segments and what we can expect in February.
Absolutely.
So to start with, we have current events, and really this will be the opening of our show, and we'll just be going over things that are in the news that people might be interested in hearing about and getting more information about, really, that pertains to our industry, transportation, customer service, and how it all relates together. The health scare right now, a lot of things like that.
Yes.
People need to be informed, so this would be one of the issues. Things happening in the airport, how that might affect you, that would be one of the things that we talk about during our current event segments. For our second segment, which is the mission, this will be the part of the show where we have a guest speaker on. And we talked about it earlier, but we have an entire range of topics that we may be speaking on at a time. And earlier, Jeff mentioned TNCs, which are transportation network companies. Lyft, Uber, services that people can use their phone or their mobile device to call or get a ride. We have a few people that we're talking to right now about possibly coming on the show to speak a little bit more about it and what to expect in the future. So.
And this is just me. Transportation network companies. What do they do?
TNCs are really that next innovative piece, that next technology piece of how transportation is working. It's mobile devices with our phone, with our app. It's the ability to make reservations, pay for future travel, and maybe have somebody come right to your house or curbside, be it an individual car or group transportation, either one. There's a lot of those different methods out there, and some of them are growing pretty significantly, both here in the U.S. and worldwide, to build a larger mobility network.
That is innovative.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, now, okay, so we got the current events, we got the mission. What's next?
Right, the crazy news stories. Ray talked about those a little bit in the early component, and those crazy news stories might come from typical publications. They might come from the more social media aspects, or Twitter and Facebook and those types of things. What's going on right now and what's going on? Ray mentioned that airport incident earlier with or airplane incident with a leg piece. There's also been other issues in airplanes with people dropping their seat back and people not being happy about it. Right. And we've seen some of those components, but there's all kinds of things happening at different times that might be interesting to the viewer. And the other thing is, it also gives us the ability to ask the viewers what news stories are they interested in, and they can reach out by Twitter to give us some feedback so that we can include maybe their crazy news stories or news stories that they've seen in upcoming segments.
So does this mean that Ray is going to be like a roving reporter that we with a special disguise on, and at any time, he might just pop up with the camera?
Well, I think he's definitely going to get some different pieces out there, and Liz probably supporting him as well. And we really hope the viewers are going to provide us some of that component as well through social media aspects to recommend those ideas as well.
Okay, you mentioned some of the questions that concerns that people have. Do you get a lot of comments about babies crying?
That's definitely that's something we've all experienced at one time or another. So we've all experienced that. And,
you'll probably get a few of those.
Probably, absolutely.
Okay, and then we got the debrief.
Absolutely. So we're a government contractor. We interact on a regular basis with the government agencies and in some cases with the military components with our acquisition management group. And they all do debriefs. They finalize what's going on with whatever that individual project is and then do a debrief. So we're going to close out the show with a wrap up basically of what's happened throughout that day and follow up with that piece along with whoever our guest is for that particular segment to ensure that we've done a quick review for the guests prior to closing out for that day, as well as giving them a brief update of what's going to happen with the next episode.
Right. Well, will you also be bringing your staff on periodically? Like today, Ray is here. That's really good to have you here, Ray. And Liz, we've talked about
Absolutely.
Liz, and I know you've got other people on the staff.
I fully expect other individuals to join us along the way, and I'm sure Cynthia is going to be sitting here again with us as we continue to move forward.
Okay, all right. Now, I have a question, and this kind of gets a little bit away from this, but I had meant to ask it before and overlooked it, but I think it's really important. I know that you guys have put together a series of transportation breakfast meetings.
Absolutely.
Can you just talk a little bit about that? I know there was one in October.
Sure.
And I just want to know a little bit about that and what's coming up.
Absolutely. Similar to what we talked about with the guests in the mission component, we're bringing in transportation professionals in particular topic areas to create both, have those individuals present speeches and information to be able to help the public gain knowledge as well as other professionals and network with them, but also at the same time to create panel discussions so we can open it up to an ongoing conversation. Just like with our GovPartners Presents segment, we want to continue to put a position to educate what's going on, to educate the public, to educate other transportation pieces. Again, building that entire mobility component for all the different transit sectors to factor in together.
Okay. And so, and then what about, are you going to go all over the Washington, D.C. area, Maryland, Virginia? Are you going outside of the D.C. area?
Well, right now, they're quarterly events that are focused with the Washington area. We're bringing in the presenters from outside of that area and inviting people from different components, both within and outside. Okay. We'll see where they go as they continue to grow and they continue to build momentum and what feedback we get. Because we're also asking those people that are participating, and we'll ask the viewers of this segment as well as we continue to do those pieces, what may make the most sense? What topic area do they want to hear? Where do they want us to be? And we'll see if that makes sense to continue as it grows.
Well, you know, Ray mentioned something a little earlier, and it was about the health component. You know, people are really being concerned about the health issues and folks coming in from other countries. And I mean, what kind of feedback have you had? I mean, have your lines been just ringing off the hooks about this, or what?
Right now, no. I mean, right now it's more just like all of us. We're paying just as much attention as everybody else to learn what's going on, and obviously there's a safety concern there of sorts, and how does that impact travel? And Dulles Airport obviously is one of those airports recently that's put some additional measures in place to do some temperature checks and do some other pieces as concerns apply to countries overseas, specifically some of the African nations as people fly into the area, but. We'll see where that goes and how that continues to impact travelers. Right.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I want to just get a little bit of feedback from both of you. Is what would you want to tell the viewers about the upcoming segment GovPartners Presents? I mean, what is it that they need to key in on?
Absolutely.
I just love to have our viewers just really get involved. Like, we really want to hear what you have to say about transportation or customer service as it pertains to transportation. Any stories that you may have or things that you've experienced, we want to know about that so we can address it and inform the other viewers.
Wow, that's very well said.
Absolutely. So we want it to continue to be an educational segment, both for industry professionals and for the public and for the viewers from that standpoint. So we ask them, just as Ray just mentioned, to provide us feedback and provide us feedback through Twitter at Covert Travelers so that we can learn more about what's going on and have a continuous dialogue, not only with Twitter, but also here in the studio so that we can answer some of those questions. And maybe it's some of those creative news stories or interesting news stories as we go along.
Well, I can tell you, everyone, you know, on our team here at at the Channel 10. We're really excited about what you guys are going to bring, and I can't wait for those stories. I can't wait to see those stories. And so I want to just thank you, Jeff and Ray, for sharing with us what GovPartners Presents is all about. As I said earlier, our entire studio team here at Channel 10 is very excited about this new segment. If any of our viewers have any questions about the show, our contact information is scrolling on the screen right now, along with the contact information for Jeff Beck and Ray Murray of GovPartners/Covert Travelers. Thank you for watching Skills to Pay the Bills, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye-bye.